Who killed Sushant Singh Rajput? Now, first of all, this case is an active case. It's quite strange, it's quite heavy, and there's a lot. I don't know how long this is gonna be, I don't know how many parts, but let's get into it. Now, first and foremost, Sushant Singh Rajput was one of us. That's why this makes it very personal. He was a 34-year-old dreamer boy from Bihar who wanted to be an actor. And with all the work that he had put out, he was on the track of being a superstar. However, on June 14th, he was found dead hanging from a ceiling fan in his apartment. How this came to be is still under investigation. However, the direction of the case is misleading the entire operation. From the get-go, this has been ruled a suicide. However, on whose terms? On June 14th, the police got a call from Sushant Singh's servant. The servant told the police that Sushant Singh had committed suicide. Based on this, the police has been leading this as a suicide. There have only been a few interviews and they all have the story a little twisted. Like the stories don't match up. Now, there are only 3 things that you can say about this case: tragic suicide, abetted suicide, or homicide. Now, from all angles, it doesn't seem like this was something done by Sushant himself. So the first one's basically off the table. But let's talk about the other 2 because this is serious. So if Sushant didn't act on his own terms, what are the other 2 options? Abetted suicide and homicide. Abetment to suicide is when someone is forced into doing it. They are put under extreme pressure. That's the only option. Now, if this is a suicide and there is no note, why is the police not further investigating into the abetment? Right here, according to the 306 section of the Indian Penal Code, they have to look into it, because if a link is found, then the person and company that is involved in the abetment is to be imprisoned up to 10 years. It is serious punishment. Therefore, the question arises, why isn't the police looking at it from that perspective? The Maharashtra police doesn't want this to go into a CBI investigation. They want to keep all evidence to themselves, which they have so far and have not released anything. But let's look at the few things that have been released to the public, because the deeper you look, the more clear this case becomes. Now, first and foremost, all CCTV cameras around his house had been mysteriously turned off a day before, and the duplicate keys to his apartment had also gone missing. At 9 a.m. on the day of, he had called his sister for a simple call. You know, you call your siblings. An hour later, he called his servant for some juice. At 9:23, he had logged into his PS4 to play. But why do these numbers matter? Because at 8:59, Wikipedia announced him dead while he was alive. So Sushant Singh Rajput was alive, but someone had mysteriously updated his Wikipedia page at 8:59 saying he died. He called his sister at 9 o'clock in the morning and then went to play COD. However, someone said that he died. So abetment to suicide is off the table. This is definitely planned murder. Now, as I said, this is an active investigation, so I cannot legally point fingers, but I can lay out details that can give you a bigger picture, and then you make the decision by yourself. First and foremost, Sushant Singh Rajput was tall and strong. He was found hanging from a ceiling fan with this cloth. Now, the cloth seemed too flimsy to even hold his weight, so it's being sent to investigate his threshold. There was also no stool or chair nearby, so naturally, how can anyone reach that height? Fingerprints from only 3 fingers on Sushant's left hand has been found on the cloth. Now, Sushant was a righty, and to hang himself like that, he'd have to do some major one-arm pull-up. But let's look at the green cloth again, because that same green cloth has been found here, his former girlfriend Riya Chakraborty's Instagram. So where was Riya when this entire incident happened? A couple days prior to the event, she was told by the Bhatt family to leave Sushant Singh Rajput. Riya was very close with Mahesh Bhatt, but why would they tell her to leave? More importantly, why does she have the duplicate keys? Now, the Bhatt family telling Riya to leave Sushant doesn't give you a bigger picture, because that leaves us with a lot of questions. But the answer's on the other side. One of Sushant's close friends, Sandeep Singh. Sandeep and Sushant had actually started together, but Sushant gained a lot of fame, while Sandeep started to struggle to find his way. In this time, Sandeep started to betray his own friend. He used to talk about Sushant's whereabouts and feelings to people like Karan Johar and Salman Khan, giving away private information that Sushant would trust Sandeep with. Now, this little detail is very important because the information that Sushant had on Suraj Pancholi. Now, Sushant was a very charismatic guy with a good heart, and many people knew that they can trust him with their word. One of the people that Sushant was very close with was his ex-manager, Disha Salyan. Disha had a secret relationship with Suraj Pancholi, and during that time, Disha got pregnant. However, Suraj was a young actor with a long career ahead of him. He cannot have this relationship, so he's forcing Disha to get an abortion, but she did not want to. This is the information that she disclosed with Sushant Singh Rajput. They were close, and she trusted him. However, Disha did not want this abortion to happen, and that means the public would find out. On June 9th, Disha was found dead. The investigation saying that she jumped from her 14th floor, ruling it a suicide. And this is information that Sushant knew to be false. So what next? Sushant was one person that could not stand injustice. He had known that what had been done to Disha is planned, but Suraj harassing Disha is not new information that he found out. At a party, he had an altercation with Suraj Pancholi about it. Now, there's video evidence of this. Suraj then goes and tells Salman about it, and Salman tells off Sushant, telling him not to say anything about Suraj, threatening him or else. In the months prior to his death, Sushant changed his SIM card about 50 times. He kept getting threats and calls, but the question is, from who? More importantly, who kept giving Sushant's number away? And this is where Riya comes into play. Sushant used to tell everything to Riya. Every little secret he had, he felt safe to tell her. But is Riya a safe person to talk to? Riya is very close with Mahesh Bhatt. Now, Mahesh Bhatt, his entire career has been known to be a womanizer. But it's not a coincidence that you're seeing these names again. Jia Khan. Jia Khan's own mother has come out to say that there are bigger players in this murder, and that they were the same ones behind her own daughter. To her, Sushant knew too much. Sushant was going to speak up about Disha, and he had told this to Sandeep Singh, and he had told that to Riya. Suraj kept dismissing Disha, saying that he didn't even know what she looked like. Yet here they are in a picture together. Now I'm gonna let you connect the dots. Who knew what and what led to what? Let me know.